So Shorekeeper's been out for a while now. I've built her up and she's ready to help my team do some big boy damage. So I've got to experiment with her a bit, play her in a few different ways to get a feel for her. So I wanted to talk a bit about her, go over her kit, how you can build her, and if she's a good character. So let's get straight into it and go over her kit. She has 4 stages in her basic attack combo. This isn't really that good outside of generating Concerto. Her stage 3 of the basic combo will pull in small enemies in a very small area around the target enemy, making grouping a little bit easier. However, the range in it is so small that it tends to happen more as a coincidence than a strategy to use. Each basic attack on hit will generate a collapsed core, with the stage 2 of the combo generating 2 cores. These will hover in the air for a while before turning into a flare star butterfly, which will home in on the enemy to do damage. I'm going to refer to these as homing butterflies from this point. Only 5 cores can exist at once, and if another core is generated while 5 are already existing, one of the existing cores will immediately become a homing butterfly, attacking the enemy to make room for the new core. Each stage of your basic attack combo, provided the attack hits an enemy, will generate 1 part of your Forte gauge, with the stage 3 generating 2 parts. Her heavy attack has 2 different modes. When she doesn't have full Forte, holding down basic attack will make her enter into a travel mode, making Shorekeeper move faster than a regular sprint while consuming stamina over its duration. In this mode, you will generate 1 part of your Forte every second. When she has full Forte, holding down basic attack will make her summon a small black hole, pulling in enemies in a small AoE, and cause any collapsed cores to turn into homing butterflies and attack the target. Her plunge attack is also worth talking about, as it can also be used as both a gap closer, and with full Forte will also cause any collapsed cores to turn into homing butterflies and attack the target. This attack will also generate 1 part of her Forte, provided it hits an enemy. Her dodge counter is the same as her basic attack 2, but deals a lot more damage and generates 1 part of her Forte, provided it hits an enemy. Her skill restores a large amount of HP to the entire team or nearby party members in co-op, and summons 5 dim star butterflies, which will home in and attack the target. This attack can be followed up with a basic attack to enter straight into basic attack stage 2. Her outro skill summons 2 butterflies that spin around the on-field character and give 2 buffs. First amplifies all party members' damage, and the second allows you to perform a dodge after taking damage or being launched and recover from the attack. This does not stop the character from taking damage, just from being staggered after taking damage. Her first inherent skill will give the team a death save upon a fatal blow that will heal the character for 50% of Shorekeeper's HP and consume the same amount of HP on Shorekeeper, even if the required healing was less than half of her health. This is on a 10-minute cooldown. Her second inherent skill will give 10 energy regen to Shorekeeper if the current character is within the Liberation Stellar Realm, which is the last thing in her kit that I want to talk about. This passive will also give 10 energy recharge to Rover if they are in the same team. I wanted to talk about the Liberation and the intro skill last, as it's the part of her kit with the most going on. Shorekeeper's Liberation generates a large field called the Outer Stellar Realm and provides healing to any character in the field. However, this only applies to characters actively in the field and does not apply to other characters also in the party. The healing occurs once every 3 seconds, and the field will last for 30 seconds. While the field is active, when another character casts an intro skill, the Outer Stellar Realm will change or evolve into the Inner Stellar Realm. This is noticeable as the field will change to a purple color. This Stellar Realm is the same as the outer version, but while within the range of the field, all party members gain 0.01% crit rate for every 0.2% of Shorekeeper's energy recharge, scaling up to 12.5% crit rate, which to get the maximum amount is equivalent to 250% energy recharge. Now, this field is constantly scaled off Shorekeeper's current energy recharge, and if she gains or loses energy recharge before or after it's cast, cast, the buffs the field provides will reflect the change. Also, even though the description says the intro skill must be used within the stellar realm for it to evolve, it will also change into the inner stellar realm if the intro skill is cast outside of the field area. I hope this isn't a bug that they're going to fix, as it should function like this to start with, as it shouldn't be possible to accidentally not evolve the stellar realm. However, when you use a second intro skill, the field will evolve again from the inner stellar realm to a supernal stellar realm. This is reflected by its gold color. The final version has the same traits as the first and second version, but also gives 0.01% crit damage for every 0.1% energy recharge Shorekeeper has, up to a maximum of 25% crit damage. This means the supernal stellar realm will not only give healing to the active character, but crit rate and crit damage to all party members in the team. This also includes Shorekeeper herself. Lastly, when Shorekeeper casts an intro skill, she will provide healing to the team and summon 5 dim star butterflies, which will track the enemy, doing damage based off her attack. However, if the supernal stellar realm exists when she uses an intro skill, she will instead cast an enhanced intro skill, hitting 3 times, which not only scale off her HP, but are also guaranteed crits. This intro skill hits very hard, getting the benefit from the crit damage provided by the stellar realm, but also counts as liberation damage. However, as Shorekeeper uses this enhanced intro skill, the supernal stellar realm will disappear afterwards. I will mention though that her S1 will not only extend the range of the stellar realm, but will also increase the duration by 10 seconds and will stop the field from disappearing after using an intro skill, allowing Shorekeeper to take advantage of the stellar realm's crit rate and damage buffs while she builds Concerto. I don't normally care for sequences for 5 stars, but I was very tempted to get this one for her, as it could make her deal some good damage for a healer. Her second sequence will have the field provide 40% attack to nearby team members. Her third sequence will give her an extra 20 Concerto energy after casting her Liberation. Her fourth will provide an extra 70% healing bonus to her Resonance skill, making it a lot better at burst healing. The fifth extends the pulling range of her basic attack 3 and her Forte heavy attack by 50%, making her better at grouping small enemies. Her last sequence though could potentially turn her into a nuke by not only increasing the damage multiplier of the enhanced intro skill by 42%, but also the crit damage for it by 500%. However, that's everything to do with her kit. So her rotation is pretty quick and simple. The way I do it is full basic attack combo, skill, echo skill, liberation, swap cancel heavy attack. If you're starting the fight with no Concerto energy like in Tower of Adversity, you will need to build a little bit more by either dodging and countering, or by doing basic attack combo, heavy attack, basic attack combo again, skill, echo skill, liberation, and finally swap cancel heavy attack. If you have more ranks on your variation or your Stellar Symphony, it shouldn't make too much of a difference to the rotation. Also, you can use your skill in the first part of the combo instead. However, her weapon provides a 30-second attack buff that I like to line up with my Stellar Realm duration. You don't need to do this though. You can also use your echo skill after your liberation to slightly extend the buff duration, but I like to guarantee that the ability goes off and you don't really lose out on that much uptime, so either way it doesn't really matter. So let's talk about how we should use her, how we can build her positives and her negatives. Shorekeeper doesn't really have a specific way to use her. However, since the Stellar Realm gives crit rate and damage buffs to everyone on the team, she's very valuable to main DPSs with sub DPS supports, damage dealers who can attack from off field. She's also very valuable in quick swap teams, and she helps to keep the team alive with damage transfers and death saves. So let's talk about how to build her and how I'm building her. The best set for a support Shorekeeper is the 5-piece Rejuvenating Glow. The best echo for her is the new boss echo, Fallacy of No Return. This not only scales off her HP, but also does spectro damage and provides an attack buff to the entire team. However, one thing I'll say very quickly, it might be better to run Bell if you're ever using a DPS that doesn't scale off attack, because Fallacy of No Return gives attack buff and not damage buff, whereas Bell gives a total damage buff. If you have S0 and you want as much damage as possible from her intro skill, a crit damage 4-cost main stat is a better pick over HP percent, but not by much unless you have S6. Then HP percent scales better, at least according to some calculations. However, for S0, if you want a Shorekeeper that will help you survive easier with comparable damage, HP percent main stat 4-cost is better than crit damage, as the bonus HP will also increase your total healing. However, healing bonus will get you the best healing output, but your intro skill damage will fall off by a lot. However, both healing bonus and HP percent main stats will translate well onto Baizha, making it so that you can use the same set on her as well. So if you have a Baizha build, I would take HP percent main stat since it's a happy medium for both characters. Having said that, Bell is probably better for Baizha anyway if you tend to take a lot of hits, so you could just build an Echo for each of them. So let's get into some of the build options and suggestions. For all the builds I'm going to talk about, make sure you get your energy recharge to at least 230%. So if you need more ER to reach that threshold, switch out 1 or 2 3-costs with an energy recharge main stat Echo. The reason you only need 230% is you will get 10% during the Stellar Realm, which is her liberation, and 10% from the Echo, Fallacy of No Return. You can aim for 240 energy recharge so that Shorekeeper will always have max crit damage, since the 10% energy recharge from the Echo doesn't last as long as the field and will fall off after only 20 seconds, but 230 for the vast majority of rotations is just fine, and even if it doesn't last until Shorekeeper's turn, it's only a difference of 0.5% crit rate and 1% crit damage, so you don't lose out on so much damage that it's gonna matter. If you can get 230 ER without an energy recharge main stat Echo, then you can build better main stat 3-costs like HP percent for more healing and damage, or Spectro damage bonus for even more damage. For a pure healing build, you want healing bonus 4-cost, 2 HP percent 3-costs, and 2 HP percent 1-costs. You could also do 4-4-1-1-1 with 2 healing bonus main stats, but I wouldn't do that since it lowers Shorekeeper's damage and she already does a lot of healing. The substats you want to aim for are energy recharge as a top priority up to 230%. Next would be HP percent. After that would be flat HP, then liberation damage bonus and crit damage if you can get them. And lastly would be attack percent, flat attack, and crit rate, but these are only for your basic attack, skill, and Forte circuit damage. I'm going to refer to these as the 3 other skills. For a damage Shorekeeper, you want crit damage 4-cost, 2 Spectro damage 3-costs, and 2 HP percent 1-costs. Your substat priority would again be energy recharge up to 230%. Crit damage and liberation give very similar increases, with crit damage pulling ahead very slightly since it applies to the rest of your kit and not just the intro. Next would be HP percent. After that would be flat HP. And lastly would be attack percent, flat attack, and crit rate for the 3 other skills. For a happy medium build that would also work on Baizha, you would want HP percent for the main stat on your 4-cost, 3-costs, and your 1-costs. Your substat priority would again be energy recharge up to 230. This is always a must for Shorekeeper. Next would be HP percent and then flat HP. Next would be liberation damage, since it's slightly better than crit damage for Baizha's coordinated attacks. However, yet again, it's not by much. And lastly, once again, attack percent, flat attack, and crit rate for your 3 other skills, but the attack stats would only affect Baizha's basic attacks and her intro skill. Lastly, take all of this next part with a massive grain of salt, since it's all based off the Wuthering tools calculator. For all the people who decided to S6 her, you would want to go HP percent 4-cost, 2 Spectro damage bonus 3-costs, and 2 HP percent 1-costs. Your substat priority, as always, 230% energy recharge minimum, liberation damage bonus 2nd, HP percent 3rd, crit damage would be 4th, flat HP or crit rate 5th, and then attack percent and flat attack last. If you have her S6 and you want the largest number from her intro, put her on Celestial Light, give her Mourning Aches with 240% ER to make up for losing Fallacy of No Return, rotate through your team within 20 seconds to keep the Mourning Aches buff up. You can use S6 Spectro Rover for the Spectro Shred with Bell for a damage boost, and you could also use Jian Xin for the Liberation damage amp with Heron for the damage boost. This was the highest damage combination that I could think of, and will make her like a mini Jin Shi who heals. Lastly, let's go over her Forte skill priority. I would recommend leveling the intro skill first, then resonance skill and her liberation. Liberation for more healing over time, and the skill for burst team-wide healing. You can swap the order and level intro skill after resonance skill and liberation if you feel like you want more healing during fights. Next, you can level her Forte circuit and her basic attack, but only do this if you have the resources to spend. Otherwise, they don't make a massive difference to her utility. So let's talk about the positives of Shorekeeper. She is an insanely good support with really good healing, team damage and survivability buffs, can dish out some really good damage herself, and also, most importantly, she looks hot while doing it. She has a very fast rotation, which is simple and easy, with her intro not throwing you in the air like Verina's, so she's very safe to swap into, and you can start getting your skills off very quickly. Her plunging attack can move an insanely long distance, making it a fun way to engage with some enemies. It can track even if there's enemies behind you. However, since it's a plunging attack, it can't track onto enemies that are above you, so it's not going to snap up to enemies in the air like Shang Liao's skill would. Her travel mode is not only good for moving fast, but will also pick up nearby collectibles around the world. The radius for the pickup is pretty small, however she will pick up multiple items almost instantly, making her very useful for farming quickly. This butterfly travel mode will also phase through enemies, can avoid some ground attacks, but it will not make you invulnerable. Having said that, she will also not take fall damage and can fly right over water. Just don't run out of stam.
I am under the water. Please help me.
This next one is something that most people, including myself, are probably never going to use, but her basic attacks can dodge some low to the ground attacks. However, you either need perfect timing or a slight elevation advantage to do it reliably. So let's talk about some negatives. There is a problem with her plunge combo. It doesn't generate Forte if you used it instead of the Forte heavy attack, and since it will put you into basic attack 2, it won't fill to full Forte at the end of your combo. This really isn't an issue though, since you likely won't be staying on Shorekeeper to do 2 full basic attack combos, and even if you are, you can just use the heavy attack instead of plunging. Next, she has massive energy regen requirements, making you either need to run 2 energy recharge main stat 3 costs, or you need a weapon with an energy recharge substat. Next, all of her damage apart from her enhanced intro skill scales off attack, making it so that you won't see any benefit from the HP while you're building Concerto. Next, soloing anything with her is stupid, since her best damaging move is her enhanced intro skill. This is really not an issue for most people, but I wanted to try soloing some content with her, so it's a negative for me. Next, all of her attacks have her floating in the air, but she doesn't float in the air when moving around the enemy. This is less of a negative and more of a missed opportunity in my opinion. Lastly, her butterfly travel mode is an auto run, and even though it can climb sometimes, it does get stuck on walls, rocks, trees, and awkward terrain. However, this isn't really a big issue since it's not really meant for climbing. Overall, Shorekeeper is an insanely strong character who increases your team's DPS massively, and even though her weapon, some sequences, the healing set, and the new 4-cost Echo benefit attack scaling characters, Shorekeeper herself at S0 benefits every DPS character that wants crit stats. She does a great job keeping your team alive in some of the hardest content, and given you can rotate to her in time, she can dish out some very good damage. I wouldn't say say she's a must pull, but she's definitely going to help your characters reach that next level. My recommendation would be to get her if you can, but I don't think she'll push your account that much further than Verina can. Plus, we've also got Camellia coming out, and who knows what she's going to be, whether she's a DPS, sub-DPS support, or another healer. But ultimately, she might end up being more valuable to your account. So for whatever reason, if you're not too keen on Shorekeeper, I don't think that you need her. So I hope you were able to enjoy the video. If you did, you can leave a like or a comment. And if you'd like to see more content in future, you can subscribe to the channel. I will say I'm sorry this video's late. However, there's a family thing going on currently. And for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have a lot of my free time occupied by that. I'm sorry for anyone who's waiting for more videos. I did want to make a video talking about the new Tower of Adversity Overdrive floor, and I will try to work on some content when I can, but some things just have to take priority in my free time, and family is one of them. However, I would like to thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and I'll catch you later.